The definition of malacha on Shabbat. What is the definition of work on Shabbat? We know that a person is not allowed to do work, but what exactly is the definition of this? So let's think about this for a few moments. Two types of activities. Let's compare. Somebody who carries a couch on Shabbat versus somebody who's striking a match. Which type of activity would you say is considered to be more work? Is it the people exerting tremendous effort carrying the couch, or is it the person striking a match and lighting a fire? Which of these is more forbidden on Shabbat? Of course, you probably know the answer. The answer is striking a match. Striking a match is a biblical violation of Shabbat, whereas carrying a couch may not be the best thing to do on Shabbat, but is not really, in all probability, a biblical violation. What about this? Picking an apple from a tree versus lifting weights. In one case, as the cartoon indicates, the person is sweating profusely, exerting tremendous effort. Picking an apple off a tree is a relatively easy process. Which one is more of a malacha? Which one is more work in terms of Shabbos? You probably know the answer. Picking an apple off a tree is biblically forbidden. It's asur from the Torah and is considered much, much worse than someone lifting weights on Shabbat. Perhaps lifting weights may even be okay. What about this? A person traveling upstairs, many, many flights, exerting himself, versus a person trying to minimize his effort and simply pressing a button to get to the elevator. Of course, which one of these is worse on Shabbat? Obviously, pushing the button to get to the elevator. What we see from all these things is that clearly what is forbidden on Shabbat is not really physical exertion. It's not work in the terms of how much energy and how much, like I said, physical exertion is required. But there's some other kind of definition going on here, some other kind of understanding of what you cannot do on Shabbos. And so what exactly is that? So let's take a look at the pasuk that talks about what you cannot do on Shabbos. It says, "Sheshet yamim ta'avod v'yasita kol melachtecha." For 6 days you shall work and do all of your melacha. And then in the third line it says, "Lo ta'aseh kol melacha," that on Shabbos you may not do melacha. Of course, the key word here is melacha. What is forbidden on Shabbos is this specific word melacha. And if you think about it, we sometimes define melacha as work. But let's compare it to another Hebrew word, and that is the word of avodah. Avodah also means work. What's the difference between avodah and melacha? So avodah generally refers to, it's a general term for work, often meaning hard work, like the Jews in Mitzrayim. They were avadim. They did avodah. They did hard, backbreaking work. But that is not really what we mean when we refer to malacha on Shabbat. So what is malacha? Well, malacha is a very specific kind of work, not necessarily involving hard work. So what is it, and how do we know exactly what malacha is? So it's interesting. The Torah talks about the word malacha in another area as well, and that is the area of the Mishkan. In fact, when it comes to the Mishkan, the Torah refers to it as melechet ha-Mishkan, the word melacha. Not only that, but the Torah puts the prohibition of Shabbat right next to the mitzvah to build the Mishkan, to tell us there is a connection between these two things. And so we learn from this that the activities that were necessary to build the Mishkan, to construct the Mishkan, those activities are considered actions which are melacha. And those actions are forbidden on Shabbat. And so let's think about this again. What exactly is melacha? So melacha is constructive activity, creative activity, and productive activity. All things that are creative, constructive, and productive in a physical way are considered melacha. And so if we think about it again, striking a match is a very creative activity. You take a piece of wood, you transform it into fire. Picking an apple, you take something that's part of nature, part of a tree, and now you transform it into food for human consumption. That's creative and productive. Planting seeds is a creative and constructive activity, and therefore that would be forbidden. Cooking on Shabbat and painting on Shabbat. All of these things are creative, constructive activity, and that is the definition of melacha.